y'all, welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. I'm Kristen Goyette. I'm a mortgage loan officer, and this podcast is about all things real estate. And today I've got my friend Alex Ormond with me. He's an insurance agent with Claudette Robbins Insurance Agents right here in Kinston, North Carolina. So welcome, Alex.
Thank
you. So
you.
Excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us about yourself and your journey into the insurance world.
Yes, ma'am. So obviously I'm an insurance agent. I got licensed in 2020, but my aunt is Claudette Robbins. That's where the name of the agency
Oh,
comes from.
okay.
Yeah. And so I started working there in 2015, and just little stuff, filing paperwork, answering the phone, just an office manager type of thing.
Okay.
And she passed in 21. I had originally got my license in 2020. And she passed in 21, and I graduated in the end of 21. And so I'm just trying to just take the agency and grow it, every which way, but remembering the origin of where it started here in Kinston. That's what it's about.
Awesome. Okay, so have you taken ownership over it?
It's going in that direction. It's still in her state, obviously.
Okay.
But it is going in that direction, yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. I'm learning something new about you today, Alex. So tell us about your business strategy. What have you done to build your business?
Relationships. It's just like yours. It's just like yours.
Us,
just
yes.
like yours.
All about relationships.
Exactly. So kind of like what LOs do with realtors, I do with LOs and realtors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to build a solid relationship on the real estate side of things.
Right.
Right now, because to be honest, to be straightforward, I love dealing with you guys because you know what you're talking about when I request something or when I'm asking a question about real estate. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I've really been hammering on real estate agents and loan officer relationships, just trying to build those in the community, like Goldsboro, Greenville, Kinston, surrounding areas.
Okay, so your service area is pretty much like local Eastern North Carolina, or is it just Lenore, Pitt, Wayne?
No, so I got some stuff in Onslow. The way I describe it, we can do it from the mountains to the coast. I can do anything, but I'm really hammering in the local areas, like you said, Wayne, Pitt, Lenore, Greene, Onslow, Craven, Jones. The surrounding counties is really our home and where we do really good business, but I can do stuff all over the state.
Right. Okay, so when folks come to you first time getting homeowners insurance, what kind of education are you providing for these folks?
Yeah, so the main thing that I can tell people, and the first thing they ask me is like, what company you represent? Who are you? Are you a State Farm? Are you Farm Bureau? Are you Allstate? Are you Nationwide? What are you? And so we're none of those things. So we're independent. And so what that means is we have multiple companies for multiple situations that we use. And so we use something called insurance company appetites, right? Okay. So insurance companies are a little bit like people, and like people like certain things that they want to eat. They don't like certain things that they want to eat. Right. So our companies, if I give our new construction company a 1972 year built home, they're going to price out of it. They don't want it. They don't want that because all they want is that one slice of business. They want new construction. That's it. And so that's the biggest thing that I can hammer into people is just understanding company appetite, because to us, one size doesn't always fit every customer. Right. So we have a solution for any situation: mobile home, new construction, over construction, anything.
Okay, so that's kind of how I am. I work with wholesale lenders.
Exactly, brokers.
I'm a broker. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, so very interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So, what would you say has been your biggest challenge right now for you in your business?
Challenge, inflation.
Right, that's for all of us, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's it's inflation. A lot of insurance companies right now are tightening in what they call it is a hard market. So they're trying to Nationwide is a big one that just is in the news. They're non-renewing a lot of their Eastern North Carolina business, homeowners business. And so a lot of insurance companies are trying to get off as much stuff as they can right now, and they're not appointing new agents, so you can't write for new companies right now. So you're stuck with what you got or what you had around 2019, 2020 when all of this, really kicked off. And so it's a it's a huge challenge right now. Across the board, nobody's rates have gone down the last 2 years. Everybody's has gone up.
I was going to say, I think they're going up.
Everybody's has gone up, if not.
Along with everything else in the world.
Exactly. So having to explain that to a consumer is challenging. It's very challenging, right? Because they can see, they can taste, they can smell bread at the market, eggs at the market, gas that they put in their car.
Right.
But they can't see, taste, smell, feel insurance.
Right.
So it's not a tangible product they can grab and understand what they're paying for. They just have to bank that it's a good investment and hope, that it'll pay off down the line. But it gets really frustrating for consumers when they're paying more on insurance and they're like, well, I'm just paying for something that's imaginary, right? But it's not. But they see it as imaginary.
Right.
So it's tough to have those difficult conversations about rate increases and things like that.
Right.
In today's
I heard
market.
a comedian one time say that insurance is in case blank happens, in case stuff happens.
Yeah.
And so, it is hard to make that payment every month and not understand fully what you're paying for. I mean, when you're not in it every day like you are, even though you may explain it to us lay people, it's like, I kind of understand what you're saying. But when I need it, that's when you're like, oh, thank God.
Your house burns down. What's the first thing you're thinking about? Oh, my God, did I pay that payment? Did I pay that payment? Yeah.
100%. So tell us about a transaction that you've had that was very meaningful to you.
Yeah.
And I know you love all your customers. You're a good guy. Alex is such a good guy.
I try.
But if you have one that really kind of stands out that at the end of the day you were like, oh my gosh, I just really made a difference.
Yeah. I loved Heath on his episode. I loved the life insurance one because the life insurance ones are always probably the most meaningful, obviously.
Right.
But I had one just recently. My friend that I had went to school with for a long time through middle school. It was gang violence and he passed very, very recently. And his dad called me and he wants to do a barbershop on Queen Street. And so his dad comes in the office and they're junior, senior. And so I knew immediately. I didn't know how to go about the conversation, but I knew I was going to tell him and ask him about his son, because of how meaningful it was. And as soon as I did, it just the emotions came out.
Right.
Both sides. I say it's a funny way of saying it, but if the tissue box comes to the desk, it's getting real, right? So the tissue box did come to the desk on that one, and it was, especially when he said the name, it was named after his son, the barbershop that he's looking at on Queen, and it was just it was very, very meaningful. So it's not a life insurance, but it does involve death, obviously, and it was a
meaningful transaction. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It always stinks when you have to talk about death and dying in any way, shape, or form. But those do typically tend to be some meaningful transactions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how has insurance changed for you since 2015? I mean, you've been in it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize you were that old, Alex. Like you were fresh out of high school or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm just picking on you.
Well, I was 15 in 2015, and so it goes back to the inflation, really.
Yeah.
I wasn't really writing insurance, but I was quoting it.
Right.
And the rates then, it's just astronomically, lower than they are now. And it was so much easier to pick up the phone and call an insurance company and say, hey, let me write some business for you. And they might give you a chance. Now it's like, no, man, we're not appointing any agents in your area. Call us back next year, call us back 6 months, whatever.
Oh, my goodness.
And so for independent agents like me, that's our tools that we have in our belt is our insurance companies.
Right.
And so when you lose your hammer or you lose your screwdriver and you run into a screw that needs a screwdriver, it sucks because you don't have the right tool for the job. That's how I really think about it. It just falls back to inflation and just rate increases and losses. That's a huge difference.
You can't own a home without homeowners insurance.
That's right.
A lot of people who rent don't realize there's such a thing as renter's insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some things that we need to be thinking about if we want to buy a house or if we're renting? I mean, what are some things that we
Big
need to know and be
things.
thinking about? What do we need?
Know your deductibles.
Okay.
I've gotten 2 in the last 6 months coming here, ask for, they just reviewing the policies. They had a $10,000 deductible.
They were like, wow, I'm glad I talked to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't
Because
write
the deductible is what you as the consumer have to pay out of pocket before insurance touches.
before the insurance company ever touches it.
Right, so that's a big deal. You're right. So guys, talk to your agent, figure out what your deductible is, make sure it's affordable.
And sometimes for closings, agents and LOs, I'm not saying Kristen doesn't, but LOs have to do what we have to do to get the closings done and to get the insurance premium down as low as possible. They go up to a $10,000 deductible. That they do that type of stuff to get the closings done, expecting the customer to rewrite the policy or change it after closing.
Gotcha.
So that comes back to your line of work. If you have
so
that
that's
type
if
of
you're
situation,
buying a foreclosure.
if you're buying if you have a DTI situation and
Okay.
they need the premium as low as possible, and the LOs say, "Hey, I need a $10,000 on this because the premium has to go down, or we're not going to get this closing done."
Gotcha.
Straight up.
Okay,
So
that's good information.
That's huge to know because you're sitting there with a $10,000 deductible. So
Right.
it's always good to, especially after a closing, to review the policy and make sure that we didn't just do some things to get it done and then edit it after. You see what I mean?
Right.
So it's always good to review your policy, but especially after big things like closing and that type of thing, just to make sure. But yeah, know your deductibles. Make sure you're getting a full replacement cost policy. If you have a mortgage company on it, you're going to need that because the mortgage company is going to require that. But if you own your house and you don't have a mortgage company on it, you can ride without insurance if you want to. I don't suggest it, but
Right, that's a big risk.
But you could write a policy, just an actual cash value policy, and it's going to be probably half of a homeowner's policy. But if your house burns down, you're going to really wish you paid that extra $400 or $500 a year to get that extra replacement cost in there, because it's going to fully replace your house rather than just give you a down payment on a new house.
Right.
So
right. That's interesting.
That's a huge deal. Yes, ma'am.
And I think that's important. I actually had a client recently who put a significant amount of money down on the house that he was buying.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't understand why his insurance price was what it was. And I said, well, you're insuring your whole home, not just the money you're financing.
That's right. That's right.
You're doing a replacement cost of what your home is actually valued at.
That's right.
So that he was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And
like,
a huge question. I love this question. I'm sorry to
No,
add
you're
another
good.
thing, but a lot of LOs, a lot of real estate agents, they'll come to me and be like, Alex, the loan amount is this. Why is replacement cost this? And I think Heath may have hit on this, so I may be just double hammering something.
Well, that's okay. You're right behind the point. That's good.
They're not, the insurance company is not insuring the land that the home sits on, right? And so they always have to understand that the value that goes into a sales price, a market price, is the school district around it. If the best example I can put is put a double wide on a beachfront lot, and that beachfront lot is automatically worth $500,000.
Right, without the double wide.
Without the double wide.
Right.
So now that whole property is worth $600,000 with a double wide on there, but it's going to take $140 to put a double wide back on. So the insurance company is going to only insure it for $140 because they're not worried about the beachfront lot. They're not insuring the land that it sits on. They're only insuring the building and the content, the bricks, the vinyl siding, everything that goes back into rebuilding a house. So that's a huge deal.
Right, 100%. Okay, so now I know why people say, oh, my insurance at the beach is way cheaper. So now that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never understood. I'm like, oh, I thought it would be way more because it's valued more. But you're talking about removing the land cost from the home cost.
Just the building.
Well, it's called home owner's insurance.
Exactly.
That's good. Okay, so what has been your biggest goal for 2023? We're over halfway through now.
Mm-hmm.
What was your goal set at the beginning, and are you on your way there to meeting it?
It was to establish 2 or 3 relationships in the surrounding big cities, in the surrounding counties around the north. And what I mean by relationships, I mean like LOs, realtors, what I was hammering on earlier. and I think I've done an okay job at that. We have a good footprint in Jacksonville, and obviously Wayne, and I'm working on Pitt. Pitt's a tough market to get into.
Right.
It makes me nervous every time I dial a Pitt number. Really, it does. But I think I'm doing an all right job. But I'm my biggest critic, so I'm still trying my best.
Yeah. Well, I can vouch for you that you're super consistent and
you.
persistent. So that's wonderful. Those are good qualities. So if you were not an insurance agent, what would you be?
Oh, I hated this question.
Alex,
that's all. So that's all I've ever known, and this is the question I asked my girlfriend this actually too. I gave it to her. I was like, "What would I do?" I was like, "What would I do?" Because I don't know what I would do, but because I've always worked in an insurance office since I was 15.
Right.
And it's all I've ever heard: deductibles, replacement costs, actual cash value. So boring, but that's all I've ever heard. But I think I've thought about this question a lot, and I think that I would do something in business, whether it be real estate. Obviously, my degree is in finance. With a concentration in risk management and insurance. So
Where
it goes
did you
back
go
to
to
insurance.
school?
ECU.
All right, Pirates.
ECU, yes ma'am. But probably I just love, I don't want to say I love money, but I love the transaction of money. I love watching, that's all business is
dealing with numbers.
Money, flows comes. So I think something in business, but probably real estate though.
Okay.
Probably real estate.
So still in the real estate world, just in a different world, a side of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I love about real estate. There's so many different
There's so
avenues.
much.
There's so many different spokes off of the wheel, and you can just do so much, and that's attractive to me.
I love it.
Not monotonous.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up today, can you tell us something fun or interesting about yourself?
I'm pretty boring.
Oh my goodness, you are not.
I'm a homebody. I don't go out a lot. I don't do a lot. All I think about is to be honest, business right now.
Right.
I like basketball though. Obviously it's a good state for it.
Right.
And I like video games. I've always enjoyed video games. I'm very introverted, so I've always been homebodied. But basketball and video games is.
So do you watch basketball or can you play some basketball?
I'm all right. I'm not Zach over there like dunking and stuff. But like I'm okay. I can put it between my legs or whatever. But
okay. walking.
Right? Yeah. But I really like NBA basketball. I don't watch a lot of college, but I love NBA basketball.
So who's your favorite player?
I shouldn't say it, but I have a lot of respect for LeBron.
Okay.
But everybody's gonna boo that. But
well, he's got plenty of fans out there.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody will boo it.
But I just love the. I'll call somebody successful. It goes back to like real estate. I'll call somebody successful even like if it's. I've been meaning to call Heath. Right. I've been meaning to call Heath. Just pick his brain. I don't want to talk to you. Just people at the top of their game, that are successful. I love watching people that are the best at what they do.
Right.
Because
you can learn from them.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. As I tell everybody, I'm 23, so my mouth is shut, my ears are open right now.
That's
so I just
smart.
want to learn.
That's very smart.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, Alex, if anybody's interested in talking to you about some homeowners insurance, some renters insurance, some life insurance, how would they get in contact with you?
Yeah, it's really easy. That's my selling point. There's no 1-800 numbers. I'm really, really easy to get a hold of. 1406 West Vernon is the address.
Right beside Pizza Villa.
Exactly, you got it. And then 252-527-2450 is the number. Or you can go to our website, crobbinsins.com as well.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. And we'll see you on the next episode.